Hi, folks. I'm going to talk about this idea of comfortable church again because yesterday I did a little voice message for Rob, just talking about Chris Blackerby, and when Chris Blackerby talks about the different types of churches, and the reason why they're there is because some people like this type of church, some people like this type of church, and it's complete crap. Well, this whole idea that you're supposed to be comfortable, and I say this is why. Yeah, I said the other day. Yeah, instead of people changing, they changed the church. You know, God said, yeah, people didn't want to change, so they changed the church into the world to be more like the world. So that's why. Generally speaking, is there persecution on the church? In America, in Germany, or in Europe, in Britain, in Africa? Yeah, there has been in China a bit. There would be in North Korea a bit. If there was a Christianity in North Korea, there would be persecution, yes. But generally speaking, in most places there is no persecution. Why? Because the world loves what you're doing. The world would only love what you're doing if you're doing things the world's way. So this whole point about being comfortable, no. No, you're not supposed to be comfortable. When you, any of you, when you read the Word of God, in what way does it sound like it was comfortable for the apostles or the people in the early church? They were stoned. They were persecuted. Paul was a hunter. When he was called Saul, he was a hunter of people of the early church. To do what? To congratulate them on their walk? No. To persecute them. To stone them. To throw them to the lions. To crucify them. To persecute them and put them to death. Right? That was the early church. In what way does any of that sound comfortable? Any of it at all? And yet people want a comfortable church. The pastor also wants a comfortable church because the pastor won't actually help people to sort their issues out, because as soon as he points to issues, they point to his, and therefore, no, you can't do that in church. You can't point to people's issues in church, can you really? No. You can't do that because, as soon as you start making accountable, then you are accountable. Yes? Straight away. And the pastors who call themselves teachers and the rest, they don't want to be held accountable. Which is exactly like the world. In the world, who's to blame? Everyone else but me. In the church, who's to blame? Everyone else but me. Right? Yeah. There's no accountability. There's no desire for it. Yeah. It's shockingly terrible, to say the least. But as I say, a lot of people think that my views are therefore radical because I think very, very differently. The problem is my views aren't radical. Not in any way, shape or form. They're not. They're not radical. My views are biblical. Because in the early church, guess how many churches banned people from church? None of them. I was talking to people in another church. It's the Episcopal Church. It's the one near opposite Lidl's, if that's the name of that shop. It could be Aldi, Lidl. The one near Tesco's in Elgin. There's a church opposite. I was talking to people in that church, saying about banning people from church. And I said, the problem is the people that ban people from church, they don't understand. that the Jewish people, the religious people at that time, wanted to kill the Lord because he offended them. They wanted to stop his ministry and his words, what he was saying. Banning people is exactly the same as what they did. And do people in church care about that? No. Not at all. They can't see the similarity. They can't see the link of what they're doing and what they did. They don't see that their hatred of being offended, that the fact they can't take being offended, that they want to ban people rather than actually have to deal with offence, they can't recognise that. There's nothing about that they can recognise and do. And it's like, well, it's just like the Jewish people in those days. They were unable to recognise what they were doing was demonic. The whole idea of putting people on the cross and crucifying them because they said things that isn't like. And they wouldn't stop saying things that they believed in. And you killed them for that. That was the early church. People in the early church were killed all the time for saying things that they believed in that the other people in the area didn't believe in. Now, the church, the world loves the church because what they believe in and what they say and how they deal with things is basically the same as the world. Going to church means nothing. The church I went into earlier, after the service, to say hello to people, that church looks like a church from the 1940s. Most of the people are about 70 years old, at least. And the songs are all hymns, and very, very old hymns. The way the church is done. The pastor, and I think the pastor's wife, I'm not sure if it's the pastor's wife, I'm not sure, but the man and woman go out the service. So once the service ends, they go out the service, they go outside, ready to say goodbye to people. It's exactly like a 1930s, 20s, even earlier church. It's not in any way, shape or form a 2025 church. It's all very, very much, and it's about making people comfortable. Having a place where people can worship God where they feel comfortable. Completely opposite the Word of God. Completely. Completely opposite of what we see in the Word of God is what the church is like now. And as I say, to me, look, I'm not saying that the church should be exactly like it was in those days, because it can't be, because we're in a different time, obviously. But wanting to be comfortable in a church, no. It's demonic. It's not God. Wanting to have peace, but the problem is, to have peace, you've got to have something against you. Because having peace where everything is comfortable, that's not really peace, is it? In something like a war, having peace during that's real peace. But there you go. As I say, it makes no sense to me. It never has. It never has made any sense at all when that's the way that the world wants to do things. So there you go. I wish you well. You take care. God bless. And go to Father about it. Everything I've said, is it true? So there you go. I'll speak to you later. Bye bye.